Canaveral's launch pad 39A will once again be the starting point for historic firsts in crewed spaceflight, such as the Spacex Dragon missions carrying NASA astronauts to the International Space Station. In the future, 39A will also be the launch site for some of SpaceX's first missions to Mars. Now, before we get there, we will also be launching the Falcon Heavy from this site, and there will be some modifications to the launch pad that we will have to make, including modifications and removal of the rotating service structure. Needless to say, we're looking forward to bringing this hallowed piece of ground roaring back to life. Let's take a look at a video with our Director of Launch Ops, John Murator.
Hi, I'm John Murator. I'm the Director of Launch Operations here at Pad 39A. We got the keys to Pad 39A from NASA on April 14th, 2014, and we started a really radical transformation of this pad. One of the biggest things you notice right away is the big hangar we built, because we use horizontal integration for the rocket. And the other big thing that we've done is we've had to convert the pad from what's called a mobile launcher pad concept, where the rocket's assembled on a pad, or the space shuttle as it was at the time, and rolled here with all of its support equipment, to a situation where the pad is sitting on the flame trench, and we just move the rocket to it, lift, and get ready to launch. When you walk on the ground here, this is pretty legendary ground. It is where humans first left to circle the moon, and then eventually the humans first left to stand on the moon's surface. It's a place where the very first space shuttle took off, and over 80% of the space shuttle flights took off from this pad. So it's pretty legendary. And the size of it is what's amazing. 39A is our home for a lot of different activities for SpaceX. It's a home for Falcon 9s, but we launch those out of Vandenberg and over on the Cape Canaveral side. It's going to be our first home for Falcon Heavy. We're going to launch lots of missions there. 39A is where Americans are going to return to space, launching from American soil. And we're going to launch American crew members on the Dragon on top of the Falcon 9 single core. What's pretty exciting about this place is this place gives SpaceX room to grow. We can put some amazing big rockets on this pad because it's a huge facility, and we're pretty excited about what this is going to bear for the future of SpaceX.
We're just under the 8-minute mark here at Hawthorne, California, at the world headquarters of SpaceX, and also at the Cape Canaveral Cape Canaveral Kennedy Space Center for Pad 39A, where we're launching Dragon for its 10th commercial resupply services mission. Now, the good news right now is we are still go for today's instantaneous launch window. We are still keeping our eye on that TVC issue on the second stage, but right now we're continuing to be go for today's mission from launching from Cape Canaveral. Now, if you've watched our webcasts in the past and our launches in the past, you'll have noticed that in about a minute or two from now, you would see the strong back, that's that white structure just to the left of the structure of the rocket, begin to open up and retract away to about a 70-degree angle. Now, this is a new pad for us. We do update a lot of our systems from time. In addition to that strong back being able to support the Falcon Heavy rocket later this year, we've also upgraded our retraction method to be a little bit more robust. And in the past, you've seen that retraction method move away to the 70-degree mark at that T-minus 5-minute point. Right now, what you're actually going to see is the forward arms open up, and we're going to move that strong back about 1.5 degrees away. That's our little check. And then the actual retraction will occur at liftoff. So you will not see the actual strong back move away until the rocket actually gives a command for liftoff, and then you'll see it fall away in just a few seconds from the vehicle. That vehicle, Falcon 9, is go for today's launch. As I said before, still looking no issues. We're just finishing off liquid oxygen load right now. We just finished off the refined kerosene RP1 load on the first stage as well. Dragon transitioned to internal power. No issues to report there. Dragon transitioned about a minute ago. Weather continues to be green. The rain is also continuing to be green. Like I said, today is an instantaneous launch window, so if anything does come up, we would be scrubbed for the day. But for now, we are all systems go from Cape Canaveral and Pad 39A.
Now, if you haven't heard, we're also going to be attempting to bring our first stage back to land today, just like in some of our previous launches. So just after liftoff, the Falcon 9 first stage, after it drops off the second stage and the Dragon into orbit, is going to be heading back down.
First resupply services mission
1. Now, Landing Zone 1 is just an old launch pad at Cape Canaveral Air Force Base that SpaceX has repurposed to receive first stages flying back for reusability. Now, SpaceX has the ability to land on either Landing Zone 1 or on our autonomous spaceport drone ship fleet. However, there are advantages and disadvantages to each type of launch and landing mission profile. For example, one of the most obvious benefits of landing at Landing Zone 1 is that the land doesn't tend to move around on you when you're trying to bring a stage back to the ground, so it's a lot easier to hit a target that's not moving. There are also advantages in the time it takes to get prepped for a launch. We don't have to spend time deploying an autonomous spaceport drone ship out to the middle of the ocean, and then of course once the rocket's back, it's a lot easier to get personnel to the rocket and safe it, and then rapidly get it ready for the next reuse, which is ultimately what we're trying to do here. However, the autonomous spaceport drone ship also has advantages of its own, mostly in the terms of operational flexibility. We can use just a little bit less fuel during autonomous spaceport drone ship landings because the drone ship can catch the rocket as it completes its parabolic arc through the atmosphere. Whereas if we're coming back to land, we have to spend a little bit more fuel burning the rocket back towards land. There's also just a little bit less operational restrictions with the pad in case there are other rockets around there. So going forward, we're going to be using either the landing zone or the autonomous spaceport drone ship landing. Expect to see both in the future. One cool thing about today's landing, however, is it's going to be during broad daylight at 10 a.m. It's looking pretty great out in their Cape right now. The last time we landed on this pad was back in 2013 in the middle of the night. And also last landing we had video all the way down from the rocket. So today's landing we should have video from the rocket, beautiful video from the ground. It should be a great landing. So we're actually coming down to the last few minutes before liftoff. We're going to turn it over to the pad cameras and let the rocket do the talking.
Cargo bleed verification.
GNC verify stage 2 TVC motion nominal.
Stage 1 lock secured. Invac fuel bleed secured. Bromback secure, 88.5 degrees. Invac and rate of purchase complete. And Invac VTV motions. Go bleed verification. Stage 2 lock secured. Falcon 9's on internal power. M1D fuel bleeds complete. Vehicles in self-align. Stage 1, Stage 2, Craig, scared for flight. Invac engine shells complete.
VC verify AFTS is ready for launch.
AFTS is ready for launch.
VC DC verify Falcon 9 and Dragon are in startup.
Falcon 9's in startup.
Is in startup.
Stage 1, Stage 2, pressing for flight.
LD verify go for launch. T-minus 30. T-minus 20. Hold. Launch support has started. Clock has stopped. DCGC, stand by on FireX.
Standing by.
Dragon, verify the Dragon is aborted.
And has aborted.
Copy that. VC, verify FTS is safe.
FTS is saved.
Copy.
KL stations, the count has terminated. We're now in section 24 of 7.100 to proceed with the post-count abort sequence.
Well, as you guys all saw today, we aborted the vehicle, the launch, about the T-minus 10-second mark. The call was made by our launch team today to abort the vehicle out of an abundance of caution as we looked into the TVC issue on the second stage that I mentioned before. We saw some behavior that was out of family for what we wanted at the time. And while we may have been able to launch today successfully, we did decide to abort today's mission out of abundance of caution to take a closer look at the issue with our thrust vector control on the second stage. Our backup opportunity, our earliest opportunity for launching again, is tomorrow at 9:38 Eastern Standard Time, so 23 minutes earlier than today's launch. So that is the earliest opportunity we'll have to try again to deliver Dragon to the International Space Station. For now, we are going to hold for the day. This was an instantaneous launch window. Because of the nature of our launches to the International Space Station, we have to time the launches down to the last second, so we don't get another opportunity today. We have to wait for the International Space Station to pass directly over Cape Canaveral until we are able to launch from the mission. So as of right now, as I said before, if you're just tuning in with us, we did abort today, looking into a TVC, thrust vector control issue on the second stage. So for now, we are going to conclude our webcast. Please stick with us. Tune in to our social media channels.